students, we are proceeding looking on the structure of the monosaccharide, that is hexose sugar. So now let's see the difference between the ring structure of alpha glucose and the ring structure of beta glucose. Now we are saying that the formation of a ring form is when the oxygen atom of a carbon number 5 joins the carbon number 1 bearing the aldehyde and transfer its hydrogen to it and break the bond to form the OH either above or below the ring. So the formation of a ring that is found within the glucose ring structure, tunasema kwamba ukiangalia kwenye carbon namba 5 ambayo imejoin na carbon namba 1, ile carbon namba 5 inakuwa imebea kwa maana kwamba inakuwepo ndani yake na aldehyde group. That aldehyde group and then transfer its hydrogen atom to it and break the bond to the hydroxyl group either above or below. So now let's see about this explanation. So the oxygen is a part of the ring and carbon number 6 sticks up out of the ring. So the same process occurs in the galactose. So hii process ya kuchange the aldehyde group and hydroxyl group inayopatikana kwenye glucose ni sawa na ile ambayo inapatikana kwenye galactose. So here we are going to take as a representative member of the hexose sugar that is the glucose. And the only difference between galactose and the glucose is the different orientation of the hydroxyl group in the carbon number 4. We're going to see this in the figure 1.20C and 1.20D. Kwa maana kwamba kunakuwa na utofauti mkubwa kati ya glucose na galactose. Though all of them they are hexose sugar, but they are quite different. And their difference come from the orientation of the hydroxyl group in the carbon number 4. Ukiangalia ile orientation ya hydroxyl group ya kwenye galactose na ile orientation ya hydroxyl group ya kwenye glucose, they are quite different. Let's now see the difference between these glucose and galactose. So my students, this one is the open chain and ring structure of a glucose. Now you can see this one is the open chain of the glucose. This one is the glucose. But now you can see on the ring form or on the ring structure of a glucose, ndipo ambapo inakuja kwenye hizi orientation. Hii kirotate kwenye that side, ndipo ambapo ina bring about the formation of this alpha glucose. Kwa maana kwamba hii hydroxyl group imejiproject or it tend to project on the below of the structure or below the ring, ndipo ambapo ina bring about alpha glucose. But on the ring form of beta glucose, it is quite different since the hydroxyl group tend to orient now on the above of the structure or on the above of a ring, ndio ambayo ina bring about beta glucose. And on this structure now, this is the open ring and ring form of a galactose. So this one is the open ring of galactose. Sasa tuje tuangalie, je, kutakuwa na utofauti gani kati ya galactose pamoja na glucose? Since the glucose we have already seen. So now let's see the aldehyde group which is found within it. So we have, these are the 6 carbon atom. So this one is alpha galactose. Is due to the presence of hydroxyl group on the below structure or on the below surface. But the difference now between glucose and galactose, it is found in carbon number 4, whereby this group orient is the difference between glucose and the galactose. So when the hydroxyl group tend to orient in different structure, ndipo ambapo ina bring about their difference. So now you can see on the carbon number 4, The orientation of this hydroxyl group, it is found on the upper ring. But ukiangalia sasa kwenye glucose, the orientation of a carbon atom or the orientation of hydroxyl group on carbon number 4, this hydroxyl group, it is found on the below or on the lower surface of a ring. And thus bring about their difference between the galactose and the glucose. So now ukija kuangalia pia kwenye structure ya beta glucose, the same, the hydroxyl group on a carbon number 1 tend to orient on the upper surface. And now this is all about galactose and glucose, ukiangalia zile structure zao. Sasa tuje tuangalie kwenye structure ya fructose. Remember also fructose is a monosaccharide that is containing the 6 carbon atom. So tukija kuangalia fructose, the carbonyl group in carbon number 2, so the ring, in the fructose, the carbonyl group which is found in the carbon number 2, so the ring is formed by the oxygen atom of a carbon number 5 joining with 5 number 2 with carbon number 2, leading to the formation of furan ring. So hii utofauti wake tu unakuja pale ambapo kwenye carbon number 2 ring ambapo sasa ile oxygen atom tend to to orient in the carbon number 5. All of this structure we're going to see in the diagram. We're going to understand. That is, when the hydroxyl group in carbon atom number 1 is projected below the ring, it's become alpha fructose, while the hydroxyl group in carbon atom number 2 is projected above the ring, is now the beta fructose it is formed. So we're going to see this in the figure 1.20e. Fructose can also form the pyranose in the as a glucose. Kwa maana kwamba utofauti wake tu ni pale ambapo kwenye carbon number 2 ya hii fructose, zile orientation ambazo zinapatikana za hydroxyl group ndio ambayo sasa inatofautisha kati ya fructose, galactose na glucose. Pia hapa tumesema kwamba fructose na yenyewe ina ile characteristics ya kuweza kuform pyranose kama glucose. So now let's see this structure. This one is the open chain and ring form of a fructose. So now here, my student, you can see this one is the D-fructose, is the open chain. Lakini kwenye carbon number 2 there is a presence of ketone. It is quite different from the galactose and glucose. And ukiangalia sasa the ring form of this fructose, ukianzia na ya beta glucose, ndipo ambapo unaona kwenye carbon number 2, this one on the carbon number 2, there is orientation of hydroxyl group, it is projecting on the below surface of a ring. But ukiangalia kwenye alpha glucose, kwenye carbon number 2, the hydroxyl group it tend to project on the upper surface of a ring. Kwa kutokana na hiyo sababu ndio ambayo inaleteleza utofauti. But the big difference between carbon atom, fructose, galactose, the big difference between fructose, galactose and glucose is due to the presence of the ketone group which is found in carbon number 2. And that is all about the structure now. So now my student, you can see I was just to explain the difference between the fructose. So my student, before we terminating these structures, make sure that you know the difference between glucose, galactose and fructose. And the difference between fructose and galactose, the difference between fructose and the glucose. Tumesema tofauti kubwa inayotofautisha fructose and other molecule of excess sugar is due to the presence of ketone group in carbon number 2. But the difference between the galactose and glucose is due to the orientation which is found in carbon number 2, that is in the carbon number 2, that is orientation of hydroxyl group. So that is the thing that you have to keep it into your mind, and you have to know to draw the structure, the open structure, and the rings form of fructose, galactose, and the glucose. And my student, by saying so, this marks the end of our today's session. So thank you for following us, Educare TZ, and bye bye. Have a nice moment.